And so it's more of it's an inception. I want people to be ignited that some parts of dreams can be made sense of.
Yeah. I want to dive back into nightmares because as a child, I grew up having a lot of nightmares. I remember one of them very vividly, even till today. I don't dream about it anymore, but I remember waking up in the middle of the night feeling horrified. And you talk about in the book how children have the most nightmares. Like it's common. Children have 5 times as many nightmares as adults, you say. Even the gentlest childhood is no protection against nightmares. And I think that's really unnerving for parents when their kids are having nightmares. I have friends who have kids who will tell me like, oh God, she just doesn't sleep. She has nightmares. And it's like, you're trying to figure it out. And I mean, you're a father, so it's interesting to hear how you may have felt about that. I'm sure a lot of us listening right now are thinking, God, I definitely had nightmares as a kid. When you're having that as a kid, it can be so unnerving. It can be so difficult, even more than as an adult, because you really feel powerless. Have there been any therapies or remedies that have helped? But then you go on to say that nightmares are needed.
Right.
So walk me through that.
All right. So when I was thinking about this book, I was rolling around LA, going to different spots and sort of just bouncing around people, regular people at Dodger Stadium. And often I got the question like, all right, you're going to talk about dreams and dreaming. You're going to have a new take on it. But clearly nightmares can't be good for you, right? There's no use for nightmares. And I thought I got to take this one head on in chapter 2. And so when I look at that, I would ask people to think of nightmares based on age. And we do that in the hospital and medicine and surgery and science where they're sort of age-related. Pediatric and adult is what I would say. We've talked about adults, flashbacks, nightmares if they arrive, pay attention to them. They could be a warning flare for some mental health issues. You get them more in depression. We've left that. How to explain nightmares in kids is an exploration. It's a conversation. I think it's fresh. And I looked at a bunch of pieces that helped me sort of come up with an idea, a story, if you will. So if you look at the first thing about nightmares that struck me is you have to say, hey, Johnny, that was only a nightmare. It's only with nightmares that we tell our kids that's only a nightmare. So as a conversation, does that mean Johnny was blurring dreaming brain thoughts and waking brain thoughts until that moment? So that's a power. I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm leaving that with your audience. That's one. Nightmares do that. By definition, nightmares wake you up and they sear your memory. Okay. Just like our kids learn to walk and talk, our mind is being cultivated. So they had these families that signed all their kids up to be woken up and talk about their dreams for like 20 years in a row. They're called longitudinal. Kids, when they start talking, their dreams are like a table, a sweater. Then they get more imaginative. And what happens is 5, 6, 7, nightmares arrive. What else is arriving? They're developing visuospatial skills, and they're also developing this thing called theory of mind. People can look up these terms. That children at some point develop the ability to look at somebody and say, that smile, I don't think they mean well. Mind reading the other person's intention, right? That arrives, theory of mind, at the same time as nightmares. So my biggest way to conceptualize that is nightmares arrive in children to help them develop a sense of self versus other, help them, not a sense of identity, but that my thoughts and my experiences are mine, my waking life and dream life are separate, and that I need to think of myself as different from my uncles and aunts and other people around me.